and welcome to this version of Ask Klein Math. Today we're going to be looking at first grade standard 1.5b, where we practice skip counting by 2s, 5s, and 10s. Today we're really going to focus on counting by 5s and 10s. So we're going to start with a couple of really fun problems that we can do in a couple of ways. First one we're going to represent or draw a picture to help us solve the problem. We're going to be doing this problem right here. It says Jake's farm has 10 ponds. Each pond has 5 fish. How many fish are on Jake's farm? Skip count by 5s. Well, this is a great problem for us to represent and show a picture to model our thinking. So the first thing that we know is that Jake's farm has 10 ponds. So I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to draw myself a picture of what it just told me, 10 ponds. My ponds are just going to look like circles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have just taken care of the first piece of information I got from my story problem, that Jake's farm has 10 ponds. The next thing this problem tells me is that each pond has 5 fish. So how am I going to show that? I'm going to write the number 5 in each one of those ponds. So I know this pond has 5 fish, this pond has 5 fish, this one has 5 fish, and on for all of Jake's ponds. So I'm going to make sure that I label each one of my ponds with the number 5 to represent the 5 fish that are in each one of those ponds. Then my question asks me, how many fish are on Jake's farm? So I want to take all of these ponds that are on Jake's farm and I want to put them together and find out how many fish there are. But I'm supposed to skip count by 5s. So I need to practice that, and I can practice that by just counting these as I go. So I'm going to use a check mark, and I'm going to put a check mark on the pond as I count it, and I'm going to count by 5s. So I know 0 is where we always start. So my first pond is 5. My next pond would be 10. 5, 10, 15. Next comes 20. Next comes 25. Then 30. Then 35. Next 40. Then comes 45. And finally 50. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So the answer to this would be 50 fish at Jake's farm. I really like this question also, which asks me about filling in some missing numbers. This one says that Gary likes to count his puzzle pieces by 5s. Which numbers complete the skip count by 5s sequence? So we have 95 and then a missing number, and then 105, 110, and a missing number. Well, wow, those are some 3-digit numbers here. We've got some 100 numbers here, and it might be tough for me to remember how to count with those. So I'm going to use my 120 chart to help me out with that. And I'm going to use that down here where the numbers are bigger so that I can help myself count for them. So my first number that I was given was 95. So I'm going to go to the number 95. That's where I'm going to start. Okay. I'm going to put a counter on 95. So it helps me remember that that was my starting point. Then I am missing a number right here. So I know I'm counting by 5s. So I'm going to use my dry erase marker and on my whiteboard, and I'm going to count by 5 jumps. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to land on 100. So I know my next number in my sequence is going to be 100. Then it asks me to count 5 more. Well, I've got to go down to my next row, and that's tough sometimes. But remember, when you get to the end of the row, you have to go back and start again. So now I'm going to jump 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to land this time on 105, and that's what it shows me right here in my next number in my sequence. Then my next number asks me to go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I landed on 110. Now look what happened. I've come to the end of my row again, and I have to go back. This is a great problem to practice using your 120 chart. So I'm going to start again with 111. I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces over, and that's going to give me 115 for this blank. Now, the thing I really like about this problem is it gave me some answer choices that I think are tricky, and that's why I like it a lot. So it asked me, could it be the number 100 and 115? Well, those are the numbers I filled in, so I know that that is the correct answer. But then look what else it gave me for a choice. 96 and 111. Why would I have those choices? Because if I wasn't paying attention and I was just counting on, the next number after 95 is 96. And the next number after 110 is 111. So that's why that very tricky number is there as an answer. The other answer that there is 100 and 111 because they think maybe you remembered to count by 5 for this one, but then did you remember to keep counting by 5 when you got to this answer? So be really careful. Those distractor wrong answers are always there in all the problems we do, and we have to be really careful thinkers to make sure that we follow our directions and keep counting in the pattern we're supposed to count. For this part of 1.2b, we're going to practice counting by tens. So in this case, our problem has asked us not to count by 5s anymore, but now to jump up to the next level and count by 10s. I really like this problem where it shows us base 10 blocks, and we can use those to help us count by 10s. So it says Jamie uses base 10 blocks to show a number. Skip count by 10s. What is the number shown? So we're going to practice skip counting by tens. These are our 10 rods that we're familiar with, so that's really helpful to us when we count. So we know this is 10. Next jump's going to be 20. Next jump, we know this jump's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, but look, we're not out of base 10 blocks yet. We still have 2 more 10 rods. So we know we stopped right here at 100. What is 10 more than 100? Wow, sometimes that's hard to think about, but we're just starting our pattern over. So see how all of these blocks are kind of gathered together in a whole section right here? If I drew my rectangle around them, I would make 100 flat, just like we see with our base 10 blocks. All of those together make 100 flat. So when I put my 100 flat over those and make them into a altogether 100, then I'm just going to start my pattern over again. So just like my first count here was 10 and then 20, I'm going to start my pattern over. I'm just going to say the word 100 before I do. So now I'm going to say the word 110. Then I'm going to say the word 120. So this is 110, 120. So I just used my word for all of these put together, 100, and then I had 10, 20 more. So my number that I'm counting on is 120. Base 10 blocks are really great ways to help you see a problem and count on or count back by 10.